Hey y'all, it's Sayana Sunshine and welcome back to the Everything Rose podcast. Today we have someone absolutely amazing, phenomenal. And I know I say that about the people that I bring onto my podcast, but that's truly what I mean. I'm not bringing anything but the absolute best. Today we have Alexis Paye. I met Alexis maybe a little over a year ago on a hike, very random, with my best friend. She invited me on a hike and we met Alexis. Alexis was by herself, and well, not by herself, but by herself because she still had friends and associates in the space, but very much standing in her own energy, and that's what excited me. And she started talking to us first, and when she started talking to us, I was like, yeah, that's somebody that I want to be in their energy, be around them, and learn from them. And it's crazy enough, I just sent a voice message to my best friend maybe 3 days ago, and I was just telling her, like, I'm so grateful that you made the connection between Alexis and I, because she has been very vital in me pushing myself to grow moving forward. So yes, just giving you your flowers before we start, but welcome, Alexis, and please just tell the people a little about who you are.
Hello, everybody. I am Alexis Paye, also known as Flexiflex. I have a soul yoga company where I teach yoga. I do Reiki healings. I do meditations. I do couples tantra sessions, anything all natural to help with the mind, the body, and the spirit. I also have a crystal coiling company where you can get all natural coiled crystals, candles, incense, sage, Palo Santo, anything all natural that can really help to raise your vibration. That is called Righteous Rock. I have a boutique here in Landover out of my home, so that is what I'm doing right now. I also teach dance and motivational movements, which is one of my companies as well.
I just love her, y'all. Absolutely amazing. So one of the things that I was thinking about, and especially with me going through learning how to become more with myself and just become one with my inner self, I've learned that there are several moments where you get the idea that, okay, I need to change this, or this has to become better. So for you, what was your first moment like that? Because I know that you've been dealing with holistic health for a very long time. So it was like your first time that you were like, yep, I have to pay attention to this.
Yeah. The first time, I would say, the very first time where I realized, I guess, and this is, I guess, in regards to water, something so simple as water. The very first time I realized that was in college. I used to dance. I was very active, but we were always dancing, and then we had our own dance team, and we might have a step team. But I was very busy, and I got sick, I guess, or I wasn't really sick. I was hurt to where I couldn't even like stand up, and like my kidneys, apparently, I thought like something had to be wrong with my kidneys. And I had to go to the emergency room, everything. And I get there, and the doctor was like, "Oh yeah, you have a UTI." And I was like, "What?" And she was like, "Do you drink water?" And I was like, no, we do cranberry juice, to keep our wound clean. That's what I was told. You can do cranberry juice and lots of it. So I would drink tons of cranberry juice, which is full of sugar. But water was, it wasn't just even trying to be cute. No, I don't like how it tastes. It tastes like nothing. I'm good. But she was like, well, that's why you're here, because you don't ever drink any water. Like, you're very dehydrated, basically. So that's when I was like, what? Like, I've never been to the hospital, and I don't really like hospitals, and I'm here because of some water. Like, what? So that's when I really was like, okay, I'm going to be drinking water all the time, because I realized it doesn't just affect the body, but how it's affecting the wound space, That really woke me up. And just out of that cycle of trying to be cute versus, what do you mean you don't drink water? When we know water is vital. Like, we literally know that, but I mean, I had that whole year I probably did. I don't even know water.
So then from water, what was next then? Because I hear you speaking about more about your spirit outside of just how you keep your body clean, but your spirit clean and being more.
So that came more so after, I would say, having children, and the experience of having children, becoming a mother, but also being married. So being in tune and one with someone, makes you really have to dig deep and understand, like, is this me or is this thing I'm becoming because of the title? You know, am I still being true to myself? So going through and experiencing my experience with marriage helped wake me up, because I realized many times, you know, wait a minute, like, this isn't me. So I had to make sure I found things that were still for me. And then being a mother, when you're raising other beings and you really are, I just want to realize, like, no, I love them. I really love these beings. So eating right became something, oh, boom, we can do this. We can do this, because I'm not feeding them this. For some reason, I'll feed it to myself. But I love them. I am not going to do this to them. And if I can make a difference, literally, in the way we eat, I'll do that. Plus, realizing even with my body, I have a lot of larger women in my family, so to see my body stay fit and everything based off of, you know, knowing, okay, I was finicky more so at first, like, I just don't like how it tastes, or like cheese, I don't like gunk like that, just naturally. So I was known as being finicky, but overall it helped me. I realized, okay, it's really what my body craves is the goodness of, I guess, real food versus processed food. But that having children made me wake up to realize, like, I'm going to start to do this right. And then more so, I don't want to pollute them. And then once I realized, okay, they really do things to the food, and I'm not even all the way to doctor system because of the shots they have to get right when, you know, all the way up to the age of 8, they're getting shots yearly where it's like, well, what is this stuff? So I knew then if I'm going to really think about it, I have to know what I'm talking about, and then I have to be about it. So it became, from there, just a lot of research, and I like to research. That was even now, it's my thing. I get really, I like researching, and I like information, especially once I don't know, sometimes you can feel it settles with your spirit, where it's like this is it, and that helps me. Even, you know, eating supplements like sea moss and the black seed oil, we all day, every day, but it's not necessarily good. So we get in the mode of it's good for you, and here's why it's good for you, here's what it does. And yes, it's nasty, but you do what you gotta do to get it done. So it becomes this thing of, well, dang, I'm disciplined. I'm disciplined because, like, my children will be like, I'm disciplined because I could go ahead and, you know, eat that and I didn't even want to spit it out. Oh, good lessons. So it all just comes together, but they definitely brought it out of me in my experience with marriage, for sure. Made me realize, like, be true to yourself. And then help me in a lot of areas where I had lost a lot of my spirituality, literally just more so meshing into a title of I'm a wife versus I'm a mother. Here's the things what I want to bring forth to the table, and even just experiences me.
And within that, I want to talk about something very important: energy. Alexis, as she spoke about before, she's a Reiki healer, and she gave me my first Reiki healing session, and it opened my mind so much to who I was about to become, or who I was on the road to become. We spoke about this. We spoke about the podcast. She spoke about how much fear I had in my body. We spoke about even moving my body more and more, how moving my body will lead to that connection within my spirit. So can you talk a little bit more about, like, energy and how you understanding the transfer of energy led you into Reiki healing?
Energy is honestly everything. My experience with energy in regards to wanting to really go into Reiki started with just realizing, like, your intuition as a person, as a woman especially, just realizing where I can't explain to anyone else that, like, what you know, maybe you thought before something happened, how maybe you felt a feeling and then it led you somewhere, which led you to something, like, really vital in life, and it's like, well, why did I feel like walking over there? Like, what is that? So getting into that, and for me, I pick up people's energy, so being around people and me naturally feeling things or being empathetic to maybe what they're going through, and maybe just honestly, it started with praying over people because I was raised Christian, so I might feel something sad. Literally, I might know, okay, I'm around it. I can feel their sadness, so then I might just go pray. And they're like, oh my God, like, thank you for praying. I didn't even, you know, it leads to that energy. But then they'll be like, well, I needed it so bad. You said something exactly about what I needed to hear. And that's where it's like, what made me go do that? And how did I know to say it? So that opened me up to, I guess at the time, in church it's like the Holy Spirit. Sometimes you catch in the Holy Spirit or more so following the Holy Spirit. But following, it's a spirit, it's a huge energy. So following that energy that is also part of you and trusting it. Reiki is something, again with the marriage, once I realized I was going to be transitioning out of a marriage, which was something that in my head never was going to happen. So it was like an epiphany. It was very mind-blowing. Very so for me, just continuing to love myself, find more myself, my gift to myself for Valentine's Day in, I think it was 2020, was or maybe 2019, was to get certified as a Reiki healer. Because I had already been in yoga, I had met a couple of Reiki healers and had gone for like a session myself, and I was like, I naturally just feel like I can do this. I know this is, I was little, my aunts would come over and I'd be like, let me give you a massage, and then they used to be like, yeah, little healing hands, let me put my hands on you. Or if we're playing church, I'd be like, let me feel your head and see if I can really feel something inside you. So it's just something I naturally was led to, but it was something I gave to myself, again, with that transition. So any towers in life where it seems like something is breaking down, there's always still building up something new and fresh. So that really, it really introduced me to self. So I really got deep into spirituality, really only because of the experience I had with myself, the awakening within myself. But the Reiki was something different, and then something, once I realized, I practiced it, I read it, I studied about it. I'm like, this is social.
Right.
Like, I'm into this. But then when I do the practicing, while I was getting my certification, and to see like how spot on you are, that's where it's like, what? Because I'm still learning. You're wild and I'm wild. Because I'm like, what?
Yes.
So yeah, that was like transition, but trusting the self, really trusting it. And I also think making it beautiful, because again, it was a gift to myself, so it becomes this unforgettable thing. And then on Valentine's Day, where we get gifts from God, and for me, it's like, no, the biggest gift I got from myself was really from me. That deepens the connection with self, like that energy where you start to magnetize, like whether anyone's here or not, like.
Yes. And I was thinking, I didn't hear that last part. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying, but I want y'all to come around though. But it's still, whether y'all here.
Yes, but when I was doing my research earlier, I was thinking about because I knew we talked a little bit about different jobs that you've had, like regular 9-to-5s that you've had, and I was wondering if you coming back to yoga or just being a healer overall, you coming back to that, was that something that you felt in your childhood that I can heal other people, I can take care of other people? So I was wondering if that was something that transitioned or no.
It was something when I was little I might play around with, but it was never even something, because I used to dance, but even with dance, I hated stretching. Like, I am not, just like with water, stretch what? And phenomenal dancer, which it doesn't make the little parts of you that you got to continue to transition out, because it doesn't make sense. How are you a dancer and you don't stretch? But at the time, I didn't like it. But no, even though I've heard it, being a healer wasn't like a profession. It was something I ever thought I could do as a profession, and like as a lifestyle or a career. It wasn't like in the. That's why because I was at a law firm, been at a law firm for 11 years, and always been at some type of corporate position. But being in the 9-to-5 world, after a while, I feel like when things are really in you, it becomes very uncomfortable for you. Maybe not for everyone else, but for you, it becomes very known. Like, girl, you were different.
Yes.
Because I literally, I would go to the river at lunch, or I might work out at lunch, but I started bringing in like rocks and leaves from outside. So my area, Like they were like, what are you doing? You have it's like nature center around the corner. Sure is. And then she's like, well, why are you bringing on? Because it has to feel like me. Like I have no window near me. I'm in a cubicle, so where do I get my earth, my nature?
Alexis.
People don't get. I have all the light above my cube so that it would be dim versus super bright because it would give me a headache. So it would be. It's alive when you come over there, but that's when I realized, like, Alexis, like you're just gonna. And then once I got into yoga and into the Reiki, and I realized, okay, what I can charge for Reiki. Once I realized, okay, this is a real thing. I'm good at it. I like it. I really like it. But like you can charge a good amount of money per session, and then as long as people like it and continue to refer you, like you can make maybe a little living. So it was that was where I guess the energy of that is where energy in regards to knowing that you have energy around you supporting you. For me, that's where my experience that came in on a big scale because I quit my 9 to 5. I've had a job since I was 15 to 9 months, and everyone in my family, just like they said at the beginning of it, like this is not something you can live off of, or you can't do this full time. So it was a big leap of faith. But even that, again, it's something inside that was literally like, I cannot keep doing this. I cannot keep doing this every day. Like this. Otherwise, I'm going to die. Literally, maybe not physically, but spiritually, I'm going to die. I'm going to keep things like being short-tempered and irritated. And for me, crying often. Not crying for the joy or crying for I'm intentionally releasing, but crying like...
It curled up in the corner.
Or, getting through your day where you hit a corner and you're crying and get it together, get to the next corner. Like, it was not the happiest time. But at the time, I even thought, like, I'm good, I'm happy. Like, yeah, there's things I'm getting through, and I'm a crybaby, so I'm just crying a lot. No, like, you were not. And if things didn't happen, you don't know that you're not at your best. Or not even forget the best, that you don't know the level that you can be at. Especially of loving oneself, or the level of just being at peace and at calmness with yourself, like wherever you're at in life. But that energy that exudes your authentic self.
Yeah, and I wanted to go more into that, where one of my favorite quotes is, "My belief in myself is stronger than anyone's doubt." And I know with being an entrepreneur, and I saw you speak a little bit about, or maybe we talked about it, just about how during sometimes your sessions, it might be less participation sometimes, but you said it when we were in circles, and you have the circles. Yeah, she's amazing. Go to the classes. But you said, and you always talked about how that the right people will always be in the room, or the right people will always be in the space. So what are other ways that you remind yourself, or you just keep that conscious in the front of your mind that, like, I'm here and this is what I'm supposed to do?
Big way I remind myself is by really talking to spirit, talking to myself, talking to my angels, or really putting the question up to the universe if I start to feel like, okay, I don't know if this is it, because I think, again, it goes back to being your most authentic self. God knows that we have a spiritual side where my higher self lives in the spiritual side, and she knows without any emotion, what the right thing usually is to do. Then I have a human side of me where this human side is into business, and it's into dollars, and it's into getting this money.
I know that's right.
So I'm not playing. So after a while, it's like, okay, I have a spiritual purpose. So sometimes it's definitely not quantity. However, when it comes to the quality of my life and making sure I have revolving money coming in, there have been times I've had to question, should I keep doing this session? Is this needed? Because you put your energy into trying to get people to come out, and then into everything that goes into maybe for me making up the dance, getting the supplies and everything. So you want it to be an impact, at least, at least for me. And I'm like, for me, it's at least 15, 20 women or more. That's a impact into. It's not even the biggest impact I want. So when I'm not there, I talk to spirit, ask the questions like, is it something I'm supposed to do? Then literally what am I really saying to myself when I hear myself ask that question? What's the first thing, especially that I don't think she's negative. I'm definitely not gonna say negative, but she's a critic, like critical less. What are you really feeling like? If it was anybody else, you're giving them advice, what would you say to them? So I try to step out or catch myself, catch my true thoughts as it might be passing in my mind. It's like you're information and there I can usually sometimes catch like, no, I ain't even really feeling, or am I trying to do this because I think I'm supposed to do it, but even me am already like,
right.
But give it time because I've learned to stay consistent with things. If you say you're going to do something, be consistent with it to at least give people the time to see this is who you are so that they can go ahead and put your to this image or this meaning. Like yoga wants y'all to think of us. If you think of dance, think of me. Like if you think of someone being silly, think of me. But these are areas where I want you to naturally just think of that. But it comes with being consistent as well. So if I get tired, I ask the questions again to the universe. After that, take it a little break. I've learned like you can give it some time or give people the time to come to you to even see, is this something the world wants? Or is it something I'm trying to do? Because I've learned there's so many ideas, and even to get to the next level and all the experiences that spirit or even yourself might want you to have, you've got to be open to switch, change, transition. You have to be open to things definitely changing, because that's really the only thing that's constant. So the key is, am I still here as Lex, in that same Lex energy, no matter what I'm doing? The only other thing that will get me where I'm like, I don't know if this is it, is when it comes to money. If it's like, Lord, there's no way I can keep putting my hands on people. If I don't have funds coming in, and that's why community awareness is so important in regards to supporting small Black businesses. It really is vital. Otherwise, because when you stop, then people are like, hey, what do you need? Support it. Financial would be the only other where that gets me like,
and
let's see where this
is. And pushing people to be more consistent. Do you have any advice on how people can be more consistent? Because for me, I've learned that being consistent has been a hard thing for me, because I've already stripped down the version of me that I thought that I was. So now being myself and not really being consistent is more so like, I guess I'm answering my own question. When you realize that you have to just live your life the way that you need to live it. Does that make sense? Or just like when you go, it does? Okay. Like just be natural.
Just being you. But with the consistency is, I think it's a level where even just within, it's a bond, a pact you make with yourself where you're going to do what you said you were going to do long after you said you were going to do it, even when you don't feel like doing it. Like, period. And especially if you know it's something where maybe just today I'm tired. Like, this is who you are, so keep a faith with it, because even that is just a pattern. Every pattern of the universe is created, but it has to be created. If you don't do it again, even though it is a repetition a little bit, or a little repetitive, it's still a pattern that must be created, which means you have to do it again. You got to keep getting up and getting into it, and then it can start to even just roll on its own or be on its own, but it does take us being consistent. And I think that's how you earn it, especially with spirit. Because spirit, you know how you really be feeling. Especially when you know, like, because I think in anything you master, anything that is truly going to be yours, you have to go through every feeling with it. That is balance. That's totality. There's no good or bad about that. Every feeling gets a little time to shine.
Oh, I love that you said that.
And it's like, that's why I've learned even challenges. It's like, but then if you watch a movie where I always look at, whenever I watch a movie and somebody's in like a challenging situation or a scary situation and they calm and funny, that is like, I want to be like that. And it's such a desire. When things happen, I'm like, this is my chance. This is my chance to just be like really dry humor, like sarcastic, I don't know what. But I'm really pissed right now. Like, but it's cool, So I've learned use those things to help create your character.
I was watching a sermon from Sarah Jakes Roberts yesterday. I love her. She always speaking when she needs to speak. And she said, if the giant has my name on it, that's meant for me to conquer. And I almost fell out right there. Because I'm like, would nothing be in my path if it wasn't for me to conquer? And I've been on that with my weight loss, and I want to get back into my yoga. And I told you, balancing those finances so I can get that once a week, twice a week. I'm trying to be in there. But I want y'all to also look at her page and see the types of things that she can do with her body, because she shows that she's consistent. If you check her abs, check her abs. It's work.
Listen, I'm trying to keep these abs.
You feeling good? Calming down into the summer. And another thing about Lex that you always see, even though you see her energy is just radiating off of her, but she always has a good time. And I wanted to ask, is that I feel for me, because I am so jolly, sometimes it is intentional, but it's intentionally the way that I want to live my life. So I wanted to ask, where does that joy, like that's just that natural joy, come from, that you just like that?
That is, yes, no, and joy really is eternal. It really is, or internal, I should say. But I don't know. That's where I cannot give you. Oh, here's where it comes from, because just like anybody, you use a whole life story and think there are things you could be sad about. There are people in my life who have had maybe the same kind of walk and didn't turn out the same type of way. But I think you also said it. There's something in me. This is how I like to live. It really is very natural. How I like to feel. And it's just me. So it's just an acceptance of, because I used to honestly be a type of person, like, if I used to see white folk, I might be like, how are they always walking around smiling? They just walk around smiling. Like, for real, like, for what? How? Are you just doing, like, I did not understand it until you start to really having to find joy for yourself in regards to finding. But I like to joke, I like to smile. So those are just innate things about me. So I'm going to have a nice, happy environment. It has to be. It really is just part of me. It could be maybe part of my astrology, like I'm a Cancer. So I'm very loving. It has to be some joy. It really does. And I guess I've experienced it because even like when you are mad at people, being, upset with people, going through challenging situations with people, I am not the type where I'm not going to play I don't have no hope. I'm telling you, if you don't like me, like if you walk around like that bitch, I really, really don't understand. Other than you mad, we not friends on those. Because I will distance myself from people that I really think are might be detrimental to my spirit. So I've had to separate myself. But it's never, even with those people, it's never. I love every one of them, but I just can't be around you. Literally in regards to protecting myself, I've learned how to let go from things that the spirit has shown you, like, no, this is going to be a problem. Or you keep getting the feeling and seeing it's not even going to be a problem. It is. So I don't play with that. But I just like to feel good. And I've just realized it's just who I am. Like, experiences when you really do see how you're going to act when tragedies do happen, when there are chances where it could be an argument or going through divorces and things like that's where you really get to see like, oh my gosh, I am really a good thing. Like I surprise myself with, because I'm not here for the extra. I'm not fighting anyone. I'm not. That's not my energy or spirit at all. So part of now, I guess part of me. Because it's a lifestyle and now part of my
life. And that's what I was thinking. Because majority of your spaces are women's spaces, and they are there to cultivate community for women. And I've realized it's always so welcoming. So, and in that too, I feel that energy in the spaces that you put out, and you don't even have to say this is not a space for no sassiness, no attitude. It's like you come in there and you already know. Like when I bought my little sister Lay, when I brought her with me, she was like, I love it, I love it. It's so special. Even when I came by myself, I didn't have no friends, but I didn't care that I didn't have no friends. Well, you. But I didn't really mind that I didn't really, know anybody, because I knew I was coming into a safe space. So what for that is so, why is that so important for you to create that space for women and be a leader in it as well?
That these things kind of come naturally because it was. I can't say like this is nothing where I grew up like I'm gonna fight for women. It comes naturally when you realize. I realized again, like I said, when I would distance myself from people, and in like in college when you're really best friends, and then y'all not talking anymore, and you see people that knew you guys, and they're like, "Well, what happened to such and such? How come? Are you guys mad?" And I was really, it's the feel of like I'm really not mad at her. Like that's where I realized what love, I guess, really is. Like I'm really not mad. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
fine. I can't stay really and that might be that's a lot of self esteem and self worth in there too, because just realizing I can't stay here and do what I want to do, or we're maybe at this place where I don't know. This isn't even for us to even be bickering or having this conversation. Lets me know our time. We just
Yes.
there. It sucks, or but we're gonna be alright. We're here, though, but we're gonna go here to separate. But that made me realize like for women to be able to be bigger. Because like there have been times I've had to still see the same people, and I don't want it to be, oh, I can't speak to her. What? Like there is literally something bigger than these social, whatever these things are, whatever. Like the truth for me is, and that's again where I guess I realized what unconditional love is. The truth is, I know inside, I hate her. I'm mad at her. I really don't think I want to hang around her no more. I don't hate
Mm-hmm.
her. So no, I'm not about to. It's not about to be this ongoing, this thing. So and I found it to be extremely needed for women because once I got into Reiki and doing yoga, you've seen a Reiki session. Naturally, women would open
Mm-hmm.
up, and my session, because of the way I do my sessions, they're very spirit led and again, like I said, I was raised in a church, so praying was always just something I'm good at. I don't mind doing, so I'll do it anywhere and make it part of anything. I mean, I've had business meetings where we pray at the end of the business meeting, and this is a network marketing company, but we plan and link up. So it's just something I brought with me. But that is where I realized maybe I should do something a little more. And then researching at this is the same time where I was researching researching about Reiki, researching about occult knowledge. Like I used to read. I still read a lot, but not as much as I used to because I had so much time and everybody didn't have businesses set up. But I was always, and I was hungry for it. I like information. I like researching. So I had found with Louisa Tesh, she's from Louisiana. I had found with Queen Afua. I had found with, like there's different smaller circles that some are in Canada, some are in California. A lot of them are down south, New Orleans, Louisiana, where anytime you did a ritual, you could get women in a circle. And once I started looking at it somewhere, of course, then you see it everywhere. There's all this information, and there was so much information on just the power of women coming together. And Louisa Tesha said something important where she was like, it didn't even matter, like, if y'all like each other. Y'all have to understand the power y'all have just being women.
Oh, dang.
When you're women, you have power. So just even if she's like, I be in virtual circles with women I don't like, and she don't want to hold my hand, but we in this circle because we know what we got to do tonight under this full moon. So that's
Under
what I'm like,
under this full moon, she said, "Get it together."
I was like, it's something to it, and I like that because I had also maybe, and this is where I guess the little distinctions in life and the little details in the fabric of your life I pay attention to because I also taught the dance ministry at my church, and I had a women's dance ministry, a teen, and a little child one. The women is the one who have issues with where literally women would be in a circle ready to pray at the end of the dance practice and I ain't holding her hand. I ain't holding Mary's two hands. What? Y'all older than me. Y'all used to bring me to church. Like, what you mean you're not holding her hand? And I would be like, y'all have to learn, like, how can't you put that away real fast and not show me? Like, why don't y'all just hold each other here real fast? So it made me think of that when I would see the ritual circles, and even there, like, seeing, okay, we don't get along, but seeing the importance of again, this circle and coming together, and it was just something I was like, I'm taking that. That's my stance. Every event I have, I'm going to make sure we leave in a sister circle. For one, it's like prayer to me, but versus it being prayer where we're focused on just one religion, I took it to more so give a compliment, because I also realized, since I do dance with little ladies, how I'm very bubbly, and I'm going to compliment you to motivate you, or that's just me. So if you come in, but you got these beads in your hair, so I'm going to give you the love. So when it came time for them to do it, you could see how, like, they get shy, or they might say it to someone else, and I'll be like, oh, you said with the name's hair was cute, it is cute. And she's like, I didn't say that. And it's like, well, why did you want her to hear? I heard you just said her hair was cute. Well, I mean, I don't want her to not, like, just reaching up. So I'm like, this is something. Let's go ahead, get uncomfortable being there, giving a compliment, even receiving a compliment. A lot of women get a little, you don't want to accept it. So giving, receiving, but also being able to say it loud and proud. No, what was whose hair? For one, let's say the person's name. Like, and then can you look at them? So just little tidbits of character that I'm like, this is the smallest way you can instill into someone. They knows I'm purposely doing it for these reasons, but and this is again where I guess your purpose, because I'm not nowhere near as big as I think I'll be, and maybe not be that big, but I feel like big in the way I'll impact lives. Like, that has to do with spirit, to where I know secretly behind it, these are little things that this is my intention of how I want this to happen to people here, especially the generation under us, in regards to being able to be especially intentional. Like, you can look me in the eye and not feel weird. And when I do my yoga sessions, I do the same thing at the end of every session. I say a phrase, they have to say it, and it is always it's a little weird because I'm looking dead in your eyes, and they're like, you can see people trying to look away. There's some that can actually hold it there, but it shows character, and I think that really builds confidence. And again, makes you have to see, like, why are you doing it? Because I know for me, I had to ask myself, why would people, when it's time to look in someone's eyes, or when people stare me in the eyes, I can feel myself maybe start to, or even feel like, why are you looking at me? Because you can feel it. There's a whole living being, beaming its energy, directing it all towards you. And that's what makes you kind of, because it's a spotlight, it's real energy. So the spotlight, because even that builds character in very unconscious, subconscious ways.
I agree with that, because after my first podcast, I was reading the person's bio. I was reading their bio, and I felt my voice get shaky. As we've spoken before, I've been speaking for a long time. This is what I do. So I was shaky, and then I sat there and I said, "You're fine." And I just felt a weight just come off of me. And ever since that day, every interview I have, I've just kind of been like, I'm Ayana. This is what I do, and this is where I'm at. So, and that's how it's going to be. And I definitely, truly love that about you, that you are, again, another Sarah Jakes Roberts thing. She said, how do you do you in every room that you walk in? You have to figure out how to do you in every room that you walk in every space. You walk it with your head up, you're smiling, you're happy. And y'all going to see when you go on Alexis' page, Lex is not that big. She is not that big of a person. In the middle of the group, everybody's behind her, and she's like in the middle. And I absolutely love it. So, Lex, this will be our last question. We run at 40 minutes. We love to chat. We love to chat, but it's been a wonderful conversation. So my question is, where do you see yourself growing from here? What are your goals? What are your dreams? What does Lex dream about when she's driving? She's like, I can't wait to see that happen.
The dream, well, the biggest dream is to really travel everywhere, But my goal in regards to my purpose, and what I want to give back to the humanity and to the earth while I'm here, the goal is to have a holistic center. So a center where I do have yoga, I do have reiki, I do have meditation, I do have like a gym for working out and personal training. I do have a dance studio for yoga, for dance, for Pilates, for anything where you're moving or building the body, where we do have classrooms for anthropology and studying the different cultures and why people dance, but even deeper than that, now that I'm into holistic, it would be like an herbalist area. It would be anything holistic and natural. It would be, of course, a shop with everything holistic that you could buy from local Black vendors or local just Black small businesses, and then a theater, so that we do put on our own creative productions. I love theater as well. That's something I'm not even really in, but that is, I feel like I'm just naturally theatrical. So I love theater. Also for like the dance concerts that we would have through the dance studio, that stuff could go on right there on the stage, and then still, if we needed to, rent out that space. So it would be like a huge holistic community center. But that is the ultimate goal, as well as eventually a nonprofit called Water, where we would be cleaning up different rivers, beaches, lakes, any type of body of water. We would come. Sometimes when you go to the lake, especially, you'll see like a whole bunch of trash, like in the corner, and it looks like oil all on the top. Like we would be the sexy ladies, literally, with those big rubber boots, the big nets that would come cleaning out some of the different and beautiful places, rivers, and bodies of water in the world. But the goal is to really get it to be international, so that we'd be able to some of these unknown beaches or these beautiful bodies of water, give back community-wide by cleaning up Mother Earth and getting that debris out of the way, but then also be able to, go for free because it's volunteer work. But we'd also be able to do like a ritual right there at that body of water, so it'd also be very spiritual to see where spirit leads us in regards to the places that even go ahead and say, we would like your help at cleaning up this area. So I think all of that would even be very spiritual. But those are two of my biggest goals right
Thank
there.
you so much for sharing that with us. I love that. And I'll be right there with you in my little boots. I say, hey, y'all, where the trash at?
Black girl magic. I cannot wait. Because we out here working. Yes, we cleaned all this. And now we're about to bless it, and it will bless us. We get to frolic in a beautiful body of water. So I am here for it. I cannot wait.
And where can the people find you?
You can find me at flex_with_lex38, as well as Righteous Rocks 38, two different pages. You can also check out Flex with Lex at setmore.com. If you'd like to book, if you can't remember that, you can always just go to my Instagram page, and the link is right in my bio.
And of course, I'll link everything below. Thank you so much, Lex. I'm so grateful. So much gratitude is extended to you that we were able to have this conversation. You were I have a list of people. You were one of my top 3 people on my list, and you're one of the top 3 that I've already got up. So I'm so excited to keep on knocking this out. But again, I'm so grateful, and yes, see you soon.
I am so proud of you. So proud of you. You are so amazing. Like you said, from the first time I met you to even that, to be on a hike where I'm just like, I know I'm going by myself. I want to be out here. But even to see how spirit has linked, because you are like one of those, you're the tightest bond that I made at that on that hike. There's a couple other girls I still talk to, but you are absolutely the tightest bond that I made. So, and then as you just know, as a little sister, to see you grow, and honestly, I've known you only for a year, but you've gone through some transitions that you literally, at first it's like, what? I don't know. And you got to trust yourself, and you are out here shining just so wonderfully. So not stop this. Continue to bless us and just more so inform us.
Thank you so much. And thank you all so much for tuning in. We love y'all, and keep growing. Bye, y'all.